Edgerle. That's what I'm going with.
And he's playing, is this Rug Delver?
This is Rug Delver, a little different from Justin's list. He's got 1 Scavenging Ooze in the main deck. He's running no Spell Snares. He has the full amount of days, and he has a Dismember instead of 1 Lightning Bolt, which is a choice I'm not especially excited about. But
it'll be nice to see these Fork Bolts against the Elf combo deck.
Yep.
And what does he have in his board? Because we're jumping in game 2 with Nick up a game.
All right, we have a pretty similar board. We have 1 more Ancient Grudge, probably not going to come into play in this matchup. I see actually perilously little against Elves other than the 4 Submerge. Yeah. One of the best reasons to be playing blue in this format, this blue tempo deck especially, is Submerge.
On the other side, any chance we're going to see Gaddock Teague to stop Force of Wills and Submerges? It shuts off his own Green Sun's Evo, so it's a real dangerous play.
It's dangerous. I kind of like that one, though, I think.
What about Thorn of Amethyst? You talked about disrupting his mana.
I was actually just thinking, like, man, do we go Thorn of Amethyst? That's deep in the tank, but I do like to swim, so...
You heard it here first.
Meekstone is also really strong against Rug Delver. Chris Anderson has been championing that one, and John Johnson
just
has
stopping
3
Tarmogoyfs?
Meekstones. It stops Tarmogoyf and Nimble Mongoose and Delver, I believe. It's 3 or more.
Yeah, correct. And if the Delver's already flipped. Wow,
so,
that can be very potent.
It's very potent. Maybe those Ancient Grudges will come into play after all, but more likely in Game 3 than Game 2, if we can get one.
Interesting. Wow, both Meekstone and Thorn in the Amethyst. That's a really...
You know, all of these Elf players are doing pretty well this weekend. Everyone's commenting on how many Elves decks there are. Caleb, Chris, and John Johnson are all on 1 loss or less in this tournament. I think John is undefeated right now. Looks like
so Nick going to 6.
No, just Nick's mulliganing. Okay. Thought John might be presenting again there. John Johnson actually writes for Mana Deprived, did a deck tech with him at the Legacy Open in Indianapolis, where he was playing Mono Black Charbelcher.
Mono Black Charbelcher?
Yes. He had Culling the Week and several 0 mana guys to go with Cabal Therapies, and I'm trying to remember if there was anything else. But Disruption Spells and the Black Rituals, basically, alongside Charbelcher. It's an interesting list.
Wow.
It's gone with something a little more standard this week. I did try and get him on Twitter to play a Creeping Renaissance combo deck. I think he's glad he didn't take my advice, considering his 6-0 start. But
yep, an impressive opening for John.
I see at least an Elf and a Forest. So I agree with his quick keep. John's on the play with Forest and Elf.
Bushwar Ranger, though, a little bit of a sign of weakness.
Yep, not the best Elf to lead with. Actually, is it the worst? I'm trying to just out of curiosity. I guess technically it's the worst Elf, because Wireless Symbiote's not an Elf. Quirion Ranger, I guess he is worse than Bushwar Ranger, yeah.
It's close. I mean, Quirion Ranger, if you only have 1 mana, he can like reset you something, exactly. I guess. I don't know. But, Nick, pondering, what's he looking for?
Well, he has a Force of Will and a Ponder in his Ponder. Is that a... No.
It seems like his primary game plan is that he wants to get down a creature, and then so he starts clocking him, and then just disrupt.
Ideally, he wants to put John in the Abyss so that he can't assemble a board, because that's how Elves wins. It assembles a very complicated board with a lot of interactions and just gets you. The Wirewood Symbiote plan, however, very good against the Tarmogoyf beatdown plan.
There's that Meekstone we talked about.
John probably kept a slower hand on the strength of the Meekstone in the matchup. He expects Nick to not have a lot of answers. And
why not attack there?
That's a good question. Are we flashing in an Elf and then using the mana for something? I don't know.
Oh.
Was Meekstone... Can we get an Oracle on Meekstone, actually? Just to double check.
Definitely doesn't stop Bushwar Ranger.
I'm making sure. For our viewers at home also, just to educate them perhaps on Meekstone.
Yeah.
Double check.
If they have a power of greater than 2.
That's what I thought it is.
Yeah.
Second guessing myself after I missed that point.
No. This is definitely, this is really happening.
Got Ponder and a fetch land. John's going to go ahead and fetch.
And he's just playing green-white, right? Like just splashing green for, or splashing white for the mirror entity.
Meekstone. Tell your friends. Savannah for the mirror entity. Just checking the sideboard here. I'm not really seeing anything. Okay. John's about to hit more mana than any elf player ever needs. 3.
Oh, I don't know. These elf players are mana hungry. They're insatiable. There's no amount of mana they wouldn't add to their pool if it served them. So, I mean, there's no shame in John just going for the modest elf beats, right?
No, that's one of the nice parts about the elf combo deck, is it can be a combo deck and a beatdown deck, for sure. He doesn't appear to have too many elves, though. Yeah, Mirror Entity. An elf, technically. And that's a pretty big clock for Nick. He's going to want to keep that one from probably resolving. I don't know. 1? Okay.
Okay. So this time he decides to bring the beats, the Birch Lore beats.
It's interesting that John chose to run the Mirror Entity out there. Perhaps he assumed that Nick would have sided out Dazes, being on the draw.
No, I mean, and sometimes you gotta advance the board. I mean, maybe this is the test spell, and the Green Sun Zenith in his hand is the real spell. Who knows?
Very reasonable. Getting a Elvish Visionary is key to many of the elf decks.
He also only has 2 cards in hand. He could just have nothing going on and needs to, speed it up a little bit. He's taking making a play for the game.
This hand may have just been like Forest, Birchwell Ranger, Meekstone, and that was the plan.
So John decides not to kill his entire team in response to the Submerge.
I like that play.
You like the old Thought
Scour to get rid of the Mirror Entity. That's cute.
Dude, Thought Scour plus Submerge? Taste.
It's a nice one.
Yes.
Wasteland on the Savannah.
Now,
this is getting awkward.
Now, the one thing that's really going for John Johnson in this case is that he has Meekstones, so that Nick's counterplay is severely limited.
When he does start attacking, it's going to be one at a time with an ongoing Assassinate basically already in play. Oh, we have the Ancient Grudge. Nick came with everything.
In anticipation.
Whew. Wow. Sees all of the angles. Nick Edgerle. It's a very interesting spell name. But yes, Nick with the Ancient Grudge, it's basically, I feel like this one's real close to over.
And maybe it's like a hedge, right? Like John Johnson could have Jitte.
Yep.
He could have Thorns.
It's very reasonable. Maybe Nick's just very well read and knows Meekstone's the trend in the elf world.
So there's that Daze we talked about, and the Birch Lore beats continue unimpeded. Nick.
He's got a Force Will and 2 more Submerges? At
what point do you just swallow your pride and submerge that Birch Lore Ranger?
I don't know. Maybe never. I'm so greedy. I think we hit...
greedy. So it looks like John Johnson drew another Meekstone.
That's what it looks
very
like.
Sad Panda against Ancient Grudge in the bin. Neither one of these players has anything after having both successfully demolished each other's abilities to play any cards.
Yeah.
But the Birch Lore beats continue. Now, I don't think we're going to see 20 points of damage from the Birch Lore Ranger.
No.
Mostly just because the Polluted Delta did 1. Boom.
Another one from Birch Lore.
Dude, I hope there's some justice in this world and it ends up at 1 life.
No,
the Birch Lore takes him down to 1. You got to attack with that thing, man.
It's criminal.
So Tarmogoyf comes down. It is Moat. Seeing as it's like a freaking Heirloom Minotaur.
Yeah.
I guess it's a 3/4, right?
Glimpse.
Maybe a 4/5? Who knows?
We have instant, land, sorcery, creature.
Artifact?
5, 6.
Alright, it's a big one.
Oh wait, no, okay. I was thinking it's Mirror Entity Tribal, but that doesn't make any sense.
So Force of Will, pitching Submerge.
Predictable. Gross display of power with the pitch of Submerge.
It's the worst card in my hand.
John's not excited to see that. Worst card in my hand is almost a free Dark Banishing. John's gonna think over how to respond to that one. He's gonna play a Meekstone.
Does not give a damn about any Ancient Grudges.
Well, the Ancient Grudges are gone. Now the 3rd Meekstone is live. If we can hit that one.
Tarmogoyf.
He's gonna try and race Birch Lore Ranger
Gives
down.
him the business. Oh, as we zoomed in, we can see it's a 5/6.
Magic players, Joshua Stefan, please come to the main stage.
I'm starting to think that the Birch Lore Ranger's not going to win this race.
You know, you might be right, but I do like to cheer for an underdog.
Yes. Oh, the time-honored tradition of illegally putting counters in your Tarmogoyf.
We've got another glimpse. John, to his credit, trying to claw back into this one. Now is Nick going to submerge Birchwell Ranger in response to an elf to prevent John from getting another mana?
Unlikely. That would cause John to draw another elf off of the next creature he draws.
Yeah, but it'll keep him from playing another guy. Maybe? I guess, is it just 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, basically?
He bolted in response.
Oh, that's much better.
Taste it.
Admittedly, we do have to bolt a slightly worse elf, given that Nettle Sentinel is much more powerful, but I think we're okay with it in this position. John's going to need to develop significantly to make the Nettle Sentinel that much stronger. Heritage Druid.
John really wanted that Birchwell Ranger in play.
Needed Nick to not have a bolt, although I think... Yeah, we have a land. Do we have another elf? Another elf? Another elf? We're fetching for another elf.
Sakaroo!
And submerge in response. Now we've got it.
Excellent play.
Yep. Nick was ready with that one. I remember the first time I saw that play, and it was significantly after I started covering Legacy, so that was a learning moment for me. Oh, it is a good trick.
Very good play. Are we going to see a Birchwell Ranger, maybe?
Seems reasonable.
I guess he doesn't have his choice. It's whatever's in his hand.
It's the elf in his hand.
Yeah, I was thinking we're in the middle of a Green Sun Zenith or something. But not so much.
Players, I need Kyle Cornwell, Holly Liggett, Josh Grosspepper, and Chris MTG-related to come up to the stage, please. That's Kyle Cornwell, Holly Liggett, Josh Grosspepper, and Chris Sidati. Please come up to the stage.
So John, down to 7.
Yep.
Can't take too much more of this before it becomes chump block time.
He does have Symbiote in play now, so the Tarmogoyf will get turned off shortly.
Oh, good point.
I imagine he's hoping to just have an Elvish Visionary at this point. That's the ideal card, and it will buy him a lot of time in the game.
Elvish Visionary. As Michael Jacob would say, the vision of scary.
One of the most powerful plays elves can make is actually Symbiote Visionary, and it's kind of startling to see how they can claw back into a game just chumping, pseudo-chumping over and over.
Just holding off your Tarmogoyf while they draw an extra card every turn.
Yep. I watched Matt Costa play a similar situation where his opponent was very far behind, but his opponent was playing elves and clawed right back into the game, blocking over and over and over.
Sometimes I think about the world where like 8-year-olds just take over the Legacy metagame and start adding like Well-Wisher to the elf deck, and the Rug Delver deck picks up like what's the name of the Planar Chaos dragon?
Or Wastelanding a Gaia's Cradle. The Planar Chaos
Blue, red, green dragon?
Intet the Dreamer.
Yes, Intet the Dreamer. That's what the Rug Delver deck means at the top of the curve.
Gaia's Cradle gave us 3 green mana as we cast a Green Sun Zenith for 2. In response
Presumably
to
getting Elvish Visionary, right?
Yeah, that's probably what we're grabbing here. He had to play the Cradle in order to avoid getting pierced or dazed on that Green Sun Zenith. He was not happy to expose it to Wasteland, but it was a necessity.
But this is a good cause. This is as good a cause as they come.
Right. Actually, I guess... Oh no, he doesn't have 3 elves, so the Heritage doesn't. That's right, the Symbiote is an insect, important to note.
So he cast the Visionary, he's going to draw a card, and now he's cooking with gas. Heritage Druid with 3 elves is plenty of mana.
And he can bounce the Visionary and replay it this turn while playing around Daze.
And then draw a card on his opponent's turn, too.
Yep.
As a result of blocking and bouncing.
Exactly what we're talking about.
This is drawing.
Did we draw for our Visionary? I don't think we did.
We did not.
We did not draw for Elvish Visionary.
You don't have to stop him, though.
Yeah, I know we don't have to stop him, but...
Dude, that's tough. That's real tough.
You're
supposed to draw off that guy. You need that. You need to get that.
We're going to draw now.
All right. Takes another crack at it.
I think he may be realizing now, he hasn't even looked at that second card. He's just not... this is the second Visionary. I should have 2 cards in my hand.
He's going to try to retroactively draw?
I don't think we're going to get it.
His opponent... No. No. So one of the early victims of the new REL, rules enforcement level reality.
We're playing Priest of Titania with our floating... Wait, don't we only have 1 green floating, I thought? Maybe I am wrong. What's happening?
No, I think he's making up for it by just casting his spells for mana too little. Pretty sure that's not legal, but...
Oh, no, the Fyndhorn Elves what just came into play. He's tapped a Fyndhorn Elves for mana, but we just cast that Fyndhorn Elves. That Fyndhorn Elves shouldn't be... I am reasonably sure we just played Fyndhorn Elves this turn. And we probably want to relay that to the judge. Can we make sure the judge knows that one? Yeah, I understand. John Johnson is currently appealing the ruling on not being able to draw for Elvish Visionary, but I want to make sure he doesn't tap a summoning creature for green mana.
Is this the old switcheroo?
The Fyndhorn Elves has summoning sickness. That's just what you should tell the judge.
I heard about this move.
Now, interestingly, draw a card. The lapsing, non-lapsing triggers, I believe... I don't know all these rules, so I'm going to confess, but I know that drawing a card is not an exclusively beneficial action, which it means it is within the realm of possibility. They may force him to draw the card.
Dude, even if I have to run out of cards in my deck, drawing an extra card is exclusively beneficial.
The DCI apparently disagrees with you.
Ooh, look at me, I'm the DCI.
One of my favorite cards.
Dude, look at me, I'm the DCI compared to Nevermore.
I know. In order to make, we really wanted to play with, hey, look at me, I'm the DCI in Type 4, the infinite mana format.
Yeah.
So we errated it to be instant, which we felt was in keeping with the card's flavor.
Dude, Type 4. There's been a lot of sweet cards. I haven't heard people talking about Type 4 recently, but there's been a lot of sweet, super expensive cards.
You know, I'm actually writing an article for Starseed that will include a little bit on Type 4. So if any of you guys want to learn about that, it's going to be an addendum to an article I'm working on.
So it looks like he bamboozles him into letting him draw an extra card.
That appears to be what's happening, but I'm still unsure about this Fyndhorn Elves that's going on here. Oh, it's still tapped for Heritage Druid. That's what we're doing. Then where's the mana for the Priest coming from?
Yeah, what was the third creature? Oh, he untapped it because of the symbiote.
Yeah, but we only made 3 mana with
He tapped the Visionary, the Heritage Druid, and the Fyndhorn Elf to get 3. And then he untapped the Heritage Druid.
I'm sorry, he did have another mana from the Gaia's Cradle floating. That's what I missed. That's my bad, guys. Thanks a lot.
So, John Johnson looking to draw 3 cards a turn these days. Or 2, either way. On a relatively, in a relatively good space. Nick doesn't have access to anything like Engineer Explosives or anything, right?
Nope. No Engineered Explosives here.
Closest thing he has is Forked Bolt.
Surprisingly close in this situation.
He's really got to get that Wirewood Symbiote off the table.
Ooh, there it is, Forked Bolt.
Well, we're talking about that.
It is a Scorcher, as they say.
Have to be pretty lucky in that situation to draw the Forked Bolt, but
John,
it pays off.
Hopefully just peeling another Wirewood Symbiote here would be pretty much the best thing he can hope for.
Oh,
a Meekstone!
Yeah. You know, this is how he rolls. Glimpse?
Elvish Visionary.
Dude, I don't know why people are playing this Glimpse of Nature. They should be playing Glimpse of the Unspeakable, or the Unthinkable. That's the better kind of Glimpse. This thing, it's like, okay, yeah, I get you win a lot more. Now, like with that new card, Mind Sculpt, you can just be like, mill you for 10, mill you for 5, then mill you for 7, mill you for 10. Taste it.
I love a Tome Scour, so I'm We're thinking it over. Gonna Heritage. Yep, Heritage Druid.
Dude, how long until one of those decks is faster than Lava Spike deck?
Wirewood Symbiote going to 2 mana.
It's probably gonna be a while.
I'm gonna try and keep track of our mana better after my gaff last turn.
Dude, he's an elf player. I say we just let him have however much he says he has.
He has whatever, yeah. We have 2 mana floating right now, and we've used our Wirewood Symbiote. Appreciate John indicating that on the screen, as that one's real easy to lose track of. Down to 0 green mana in the pool off the Elvish Visionary, but we can tap Fyndhorn Elves this time. Woohoo!
These are a lot more modest of Glimpse of Natures than we were seeing out of the earlier elf players.
Modest glimpses are still just fine.
Merely Ancestral Recall.
And the Meekstone. Nick's gonna have to look elsewhere for beatdown.
Man, it's stuck tap too.
Yeah.
Man. Not even just not attacking, it's
we
like
missed an attack with Fyndhorn Elves here.
Dude, why does he not like attacking?
Delver of Secrets for Nick.
Dude, he's a beatdown deck. He's got to beat down. Dude. Besides, if anything goes wrong, just pull that guy
Pull
back
it
to your hand.
Yeah. You can even untap the one you tap to attack with, so it's the full.
Ah.
He did go ahead and use his Wirewood Symbiote activation to get it back the Elvish Visionary.
Elvish Visionary. Once again,
Deceptively powerful combination.
one of the keys to Luis Scott Vargas's Berlin victory, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. And a number of other players' top finishes in Berlin. Another Elvish Visionary. Whew. Will wonders never cease.
What do you think about the Delver of Secrets here? Is he going to intentionally not flip just so it stays small?
I don't know what the gains are to that, really.
No, I guess he needs it to be big so that he can hold off some creatures on defense. He'll just not attack with it until he's ready.
He can peel out some burn spells to take John down, so...
It's true.
A flying, basically, it is unblockable, right? I don't think John has any way to block it, so it's just going to be a 3 damage guy. While
He does have Fairy Macabre in his sideboard.
I don't think we brought that one in.
If he has to have some Birchwell Rangers.
Birchwell Ranger and 2 other elves.
Fairy Macabre, defense. Stay back, you can't get through. Even strategically smaller than the Delver so that he can continue to attack through Meekstone.
We have a Nettle Sentinel in play, but we do not have the ability to get some green mana before our Green Sun Zenith here, so... I imagine this is for 2 to get... It's either 2 or 1 to get a Nettle Sentinel or an Elvish Visionary. Or maybe another Wirewood Symbiote.
Yeah, another Symbiote seems alright.
I think all of those are defensible plays from this position.
Might even want Birchwell Ranger, I don't know.
How else are you going to cast Fairy? Ooh, good read. You had that Birchwell Ranger.
Yeah, because if he has Birchwell Ranger with Nettle Sentinel, now he can effectively make all his cards free.
Sure.
And
it's reasonable.
And that's not bad.
As they say. And it's not bad at all. I think successful Mind's Desires decks have been based on this premise, so...
Absolutely. So, I think John still has a fair bit of mana available to him. He's, I guess the next step is to find... I mean, he's drawing a lot of cards every turn.
Yep.
And he's in real good shape. The next step is to put this away before Nick can finish him off with like a flurry of burn spells. The game is definitely slipping away for Nick.
Yep. It just goes to show you that's legacy. Nick seemed so advantaged, had so many cards. Still had all these to submerge into the exile zone of their Forcible. Wirewood Symbiote bouncing a Visionary, untapping a Findhorn Elves. Casting, I think we had one floating from our Heritage there, right? Oh, we had 2, I guess.
There's Mirror Entity.
Dun, dun, Ranger dun. I gotcha. And now we are threatening lethal on the next turn. Daze. That's going to make John go to 6. That's is super relevant. If he just reveals a Lightning Bolt, he can kill him.
Delver of Secrets, show you Lightning Bolt. Nick playing to his outs.
Yep, savvy of Nick to make sure he got John to 6. He has already cast 1 Lightning Bolt, and he has 2 left in the deck. I kind of hope he reveals that Dismember. Am I sick for wanting it? But
dude, you can't. The heart wants what the heart wants. Doesn't mean you don't go to jail in the morning.
Reveal. Oh,
tank! Come out of the tank. We'll show you lightning.
That's
bolt.
a spell pierce. That's
right. God. I was hoping he came out of the tank. We'll show you lightning bolt.
Yep. He is going to fetch to try and hit it on the draw step, though.
He has to.
Yep. No other choices.
Absolutely.
And note he can also hit Ponder and Brainstorm for redraws at lightning bolt.
Next turn, he's looking at a lot of mirror entity damage.
Yes, he is. I believe it is approximately 7 million. Oh, his Tarmogoyf just so we type. Yeah, okay, we all caught that. There we go.
Dude, just windmill it. Just windmill. Just slam it. Just slam it. He goes,
quick peek.
No.
Over.
Well, that better be a Ponder or a Brainstorm, or you'd be kicked out of the league. You can't tank like this. Everybody at home wants to know. Share it. Let us know. Come on, man. Dude, I respect. If it's a Ponder and you're just deciding which land to tap, okay, maybe. But if that's a Daze, dude.
We're attacking.
Alright, you text. Maybe come out of the tank with Lightning Bolt. Come out of the tank with Lightning Bolt. Don't think he's going to come out of the tank with Lightning Bolt.
He's just going to pass. What do we have? Is there a card we can have here that's
he has
legitimate
nothing.
Defense?
He just does not want to walk away.
That's fair.
Which is weird because they're short on time and there's game 3 to come. 2 minutes left? Jeez.
Nope. These players will need one more win if they draw this round to be able to draw in the final round.
Dude, you don't got time for that. You have 2 minutes left in the round. Dude, I appreciate a 10 out of 10 for style when it's a 10 out of 10, but my God, dude. You are a madman.
Yeah, he is. Now, in some ways, Nick is sort of, I guess, free-rolling here because John, it's going to be real difficult for John to realistically win within time. Oh, they have an extra 7 minutes. Okay.
All right.
Well, now we're
maybe
relaxed.
if you got 7 minutes, that was 30 seconds well spent. Maybe. Don't think it.
We're on the camera, guy. I mean, that's fine.
Sometimes you
show
gotta
a
play for
little
the
love.
highlight reel.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, give ESPN a little something to work on.
Nobody remembers the guy who conceded after drawing his card.
Right, like, yeah, nobody ever wins the guy who wins the world championships with, like, layups and three-point shots. Like, if you aren't dunking, you know, then what are you even doing? If you don't win a championship by drawing an absurd number of sketchy ref calls, you haven't even really won it.
That never happens, though. I mean, it's just a non-existent thing.
So going into game 3, the jig is up. Very clearly, John Johnson has Meek Stone.
Yep.
And very clearly, Nick has Ancient Grudge. Do you think either player's going to adapt their strategy?
I doubt it.
Or
After
pretend they're going to adapt their strategy?
The Meek Stone still was very good for John, even though he wound up getting Ancient Grudge, so I don't think either one of them will change. They're both just going to keep him in. They might do a little fake of the sideboard there. Nick is not especially prepared for the matchup in his sideboard other than the Submerges and those Grudges, so I guess that's like all he's going to really have. Trying to one-for-one the self-deck is going to be tough.
Didn't people used to play Grim Lavamancer? What happened to all that? Nimble Mongoose and Lavamancer aren't really buddies?
No, they're not friends, and Grim's just so weak against the combo decks, you know.
Attention players, that is time.
The Ancient Grudges will probably definitely dissuade John from coming out of the tank with Thorn of Amethyst. So there's
If you
that.
have a time extension or need help with this process, please call a judge.
It's presenting sober, both players, just very, very calm.
You said both players are sober?
They are sober.
Absolutely. It's good that these players are.
Nick apparently mulliganing again, I assume. Going to 6 cards here. John once again looking at Forest Elf Keep. How many forests is too many for the elf deck? At what point, like, just say you just have an assortment of elves you can cast. At what point do you have too many forests to keep?
I would keep Glimpse, 2 elves, 4 forests, like
I think that's
that.
very reasonable keep.
I would keep Glimpse, 2 elves, 2 forests, 2 plains.
In this matchup, effectively, kind of Darksteel Citadel there. Well, we can cast our mirror entities.
Oh no, Darksteel Citadel I wouldn't keep.
We have to be able to cast that mirror entity?
Yes.
That's reasonable.
Yes.
That is within reason. Is Nick going to 5, or is this just still the mold of 6?
Dude, go straight to 4. Come on. Take the gloves off. Let's go.
You know, I still have a magic aspiration of winning on a mold of 3. I have never done it.
Never done it?
Never done it in my entire life. And it's been a while. We are on 5, I think. Yep, 5. That's no land, though.
I beat somebody on a mold where they molded 0. And they weren't doing it like it's a joke. They thought they were going to win.
They just made the strictly war small?
No,
they
they molded
showboating.
0. No, they molded 0 because they thought that if they molded 0, I could not beat them because in game 1 I decked them by cards and they saw almost my whole deck and they thought that they saw the whole thing and they thought I just didn't have a victory condition. So they mold to 0 in the dark, thinking that they could not.
That seems loose at
So
best.
by the time they played a land, I had Winter Orb, Icy Manipulator, plenty of everything. It was sick. I couldn't land tax though.
That
But-
sucks.
Yeah, then I just decked them. But yeah, but the most I ever beat in a Pro Tour was on the Mole to 1. My opponent mulled to 1. He was playing elves actually. At Pro Tour Berlin, my opponent mulled to 1 because his 2-card hand had the dragon. The Predator Dragon was one of his 2 cards.
Wow. So it's the
Predator
same.
Dragon and Birchlore Ranger. He's like, that's awful.
I'd rather go
Ships
for
it back.
Forest.
So he ships it back, and he was on the play.
Whoa, this one's off to a quick start. Start with Delver Secrets for Nick.
Don't
on
tell
his
anybody,
4
but I
cards.
almost lost that game. His 1 card hand was Llanowar Elf, and he draws Forest. Dude was, I mean, obviously, like if I had mulled to like 4, I think he could have beat me. All right, Llanowar Elf, Birchlore Ranger and Basic Forest from the Unhinged expansion. Volcanic Island and Delver Secrets.
No trigger on the Delver. I think he actually drew
Tropical
Trop.
Izzy.
And he obviously can't afford to risk trading that Birchlore with that Birchlore Ranger.
The Delver is too important to his game plan here.
Especially when you mulligan. Often the best strategy when you mulligan is to try and get aggressive, because the card advantage will hurt you in the long game, and you might be able to take advantage of a slow start.
Sure.
It's certainly true in a deck riddled with lightning bolts and 1 mana 3 power creatures.
Elvish Visionary.
That's a Meekstone. Oh, we're attacking now. We know that he can't trade that Delver.
Warrior with Symbiote. Everything is going swimmingly for John Johnson.
Lightning bolt. This is not a bad Mold of Forest. Mold of Forest go.
He didn't bounce the Visionary. No.
Didn't bounce the Vision. You're right.
No. So the insect begins the beatdown.
I imagine John will just Meekstone and do some attacking here. Glimpse.
Glimpse.
Oh. He's going to do a little more than that. Imagine a modest glimpse for 2 or 3 cards here.
Suppose it's defensible to not replaying not bouncing the Visionary if you know your game's going to go like this. I suppose.
Just probably an Ancestral Recall here is the Glimpse, I imagine. And a Fetch.
Is that good? Is drawing 3 extra cards good?
I've heard it's reasonable. I did get to see Chris Morgan fire Visions of Beyond for 3 cards in the quarterfinals of the Standard Open, so that it seemed good there.
Wow. All right. Is he playing Grixis?
Yes, he was playing Grixis. Had the one.
Love to see all these Grixis decks. Dude, where the Grixis decks at in Legacy? Where them Grixis at? Dude, don't people play Cruel Ultimatum in their Dreamhost decks sometimes?
Some people have, yeah.
Counts. Totally counts.
I think they're mostly going with other kills now, though.
Oh, that's sad.
That's
what?
our
What do they kill with?
4th card?
With what?
The Beacon and False Cure kill, or Progenitus, is the most common sequencing now.
Okay.
It's not as fun, I grant you.
What about Temporal Mastery? Do they do any of that?
The Progenitus usually has some Temporal Mastery fueled attacks.
That's a good way to do it. Progenitus with 2 Temporal Masteries, I'll give him that. That sounds pretty good. So Nick,
he didn't bother with the Meekstone, notably. He just cast a bunch of elves and drew a bunch of cards, and that's fine. He has life to play with, he knows, and Nick's trying to peel cards, so John
maybe he just didn't want to
walk.
walk into Spell Pierce.
It's reasonable. Well, no, he knew it was Forcible. It was the only card in hand, so...
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He just took 3 damage because he'd rather draw a card and play an elf that turn.
Oh, he ran out of mana?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sure.
He had a 1 mana elf left over, and that was the call.
So another Symbiote enters the table. What do you think about these decks not playing Eternal Witness?
I think it's alright. It's kind of hard to Zenith for 3, I guess, which is why you would mostly be doing it. And when you're actually doing stuff with Witness, you might just be kind of showboating it. Like, isn't Elvish Visionary really close to in this deck where all the cards are so similar? You know?
You're right.
Yeah.
I meant just getting back your Glimpse.
Yeah. It's spicy. I feel like if you're able to do that, you might be in really good shape already.
That's true. I mean, like right now, I've seen John Johnson in worse shape than this.
Yeah, that's true. And he won that game. So.
Yeah.
We've symbioted back. We're visionarying, and this one's looking grim for Nick. Notably, we still didn't cast that Meekstone. We could have cast it now, right? We have Virtual Ranger on the field. I guess now we're playing around the Spell Pierce because he has 1 unknown card. Spell Pierce and Daze are both theoretically bad cards for us. He could even have just blue card Forcible, which he would probably have to do in this position.
Maybe he's handicapping himself. You know, just one arm behind his back. It's too easy in this league. I mean, he's already 6-0, right?
I think Nick just drew Ancient Grudge, so now the 6 life he is wound up giving away is going to matter significantly more.
We have hit turns.
And we have hit turns, so that means it is now impossible, right? No, Nick can still win with Bolt, sorry.
It would be impossible if the Meekstone had been in play.
It would be impossible.
But John doesn't, he likes to feel something. He wants to actually, you know what I mean? Like, he wants to feel his heartbeat. He wants to know that he's alive.
Nobody feels alive at 18 life. You have to get down to like 12 or so. That's when you start really feeling.
It's like in the immortal words of the Rainmaker, Patrick Sullivan. I just want to feel something.
Nick's thinking over. Can I survive? Can this Delver get through?
Doesn't have a lot of mana, or cards, or options, or counterplay.
Nick is turn 0 of turns.
But what he does have is an opportunity to turtle up, block with that Delver of Secrets that was allowed to untap for no explicable reason, and try to prevent enough damage to not die in 3 turns.
Yeah. If he can secure a draw, that's obviously better than a loss. He'll still need a win either way, so it's very similar, but he may be able to win and afford a loss if he gets paired down in the last round, which could matter, or if he loses and gets paired up. Yeah, he's going to pass. That's his plan.
Yeah,
just
why didn't
defend,
these
defend,
two ID?
defend. They can ID.
Why didn't they ID before the match? If they're both 6-0.
I think that John actually got paired down as well.
Oh.
Now that I think about it.
Oh. I was going to say, 2 6-0s just playing it out? Inconceivable. All right, here comes the mediocre beats.
It's going to bounce the Lawnmower Elves when it gets blocked. Notably, Nick did not block an Elvish Visionary. Good choice. Now we're casting Lawnmower Elves. Man, where did that guy come from?
Play a morph, play a morph. Yes. No.
Priest of Titania?
Sure.
Aquarian Ranger?
Sure.
Maybe I'm just like wrong about this Meekstone that was in his hand. Did I like not? Was there no Meekstone at all?
There can't be a Meekstone.
This seems silly. I saw a whiteboard card. Savannah's the only one I did not think it was a Savannah, but I'm not sure now.
Nothing that a little sleight of hand can't fix.
Yeah. Wasteland on that Savannah.
Might be another Savannah.
Maybe. I only got a glance. I could have sworn.
So
if
John
so,
Johnson
sorry,
has
viewers.
this attack phase and one more. It's going to be close. He's got enough to do it, but we haven't seen what all Nick has up his sleeve.
We know he has Force of Will, Land, and I think Ancient Grudge are his cards in hand. I'm not 100% on them, though. My world has been cast into doubt in this game. This many. I might just send the Symbiote here, too, realistically. Like, what are we... What's the worst that could happen? See, there's that whiteboard card. Is that not Meekstone?
That's got to be Meekstone.
Yeah, that's Meekstone. This is some weird stuff. I guess there wasn't much value to playing it last turn because the Delver's never tapping. But yeah. It definitely would have changed the texture of the game before. Yep. Okay. Priest. Coming back down.
So does a 4th pull even do it? I don't think so. I think Nick is just a goner. And John wins in turns.
Yep.
So John Johnson advancing to 7-0.
I think so. Might want to get a confirmation.
So John Johnson advancing
to
defeating this round to